Welcome back. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Question Aggression with me, AJ from Nervous Aggression. So it's been a few weeks. I know I'm not the best video editor of all time, but I'm kind of learning as I go. And these videos take a really long time to edit. I would really like to go back to doing an episode a week, but with shows picking up, having to rehearse all this stuff, it's going to be really hard for me to work around that. So kind of expect more gaps as we go along, but I'm going to do my best to get a little more frequently than the last one. So with that out of the way, I put out a poll with some of my ideas for question aggression videos, and you all voted on it, which was great. It helps with engagement, helps with the algorithm and stuff. But this was a topic that I'm kind of excited that everybody wanted to hear about because it's something I have a lot to say on. And personally, I don't think it's talked about nearly enough outside of like a straight edge context in our world, this punk hardcore world. This can be about any realm of music or just any aspect of life. You don't even have to be a musician for some of these videos. So let's not wait any longer. Let's get right into the video.
Let's go!
All right, partying. Drinking is kind of what I know best. So growing up, alcohol has kind of been normalized in my family. And not that, there are a bunch of belligerent alcoholics, but anytime there was any kind of a big get together or anything like that, plenty of alcohol was involved. And, I started kind of lightly drinking around the age 15 or so. And then I started heavily drinking after high school, 18, 19, 20 years old. And then I started kind of like, damn, where do I begin with this? This is a tough topic. Yeah, this is a really hard topic. Really tough one to come back to. This one hits kind of close to home in a few ways. But I guess where I can start is just what I know best, which is drinking. And drinking's been a big part of my life pretty much all my life. Not that I've been getting hammered since I was 5 years old or anything like that, but my family's full of drinkers. On both sides. My mom doesn't really drink, but pretty much everybody outside of my mom and my family drinks. My dad drinks, my uncles drink, my aunt drinks. It's just been a big part of my life. It's just, for me, always been completely normal to, slick backs and beers or whatever. And, so I started drinking myself probably around the age of 15. I had tried alcohol a few times, before that, much younger than that. But I started drinking around the age of 15, and it was just once in a while, and only a few would get me there, so it wasn't anything crazy. But then right around the time I graduated high school, my drinking really picked up. Especially because, we all know that one place, or at least when I was younger, it was really easy to go get alcohol at certain places that wouldn't card, and, they might charge you a little extra for it, but for the most part, you can get away with buying some alcohol. And I think just the combination of like having the family that I've had alongside of worshiping bands like The Casualties and Public Nuisance, Blood for Blood, bands with a big drinking theme, it just kind of all made sense to me that I would drink. Not to mention, I genuinely enjoy the taste of beer. There's nights, not often, because usually if I'm going to have beer, I'm having beer, but there's been nights where I don't feel like getting drunk, but I'll have a few non-alcoholic beers or something. I just like the taste. And all that's fine and dandy, and I don't put any blame on any of these bands for how I turned out. As a matter of fact, I think part of the reason I liked these bands so much is because I drank it and it spoke to me. Not, oh, they're doing it, that's cool, I'm gonna drink now, And I hope to God no younger people look at me and see me drinking and think that's cool. I actually have a story on that I'll get to in a little bit. Anyhow, so as I approached into my early 20s, especially turning 21, I had a lot more access to alcohol. And it wasn't so bad for a while, what do you do when you're in your early 20s? You drink, you party, all my friends are drinking, we're having a good time. Well, unfortunately, things kind of took a dark turn for a little while. I know I've touched on it before, and I don't want to get too into detail here, but a lot of my friends got into hard stuff. And I'm not talking just like weed or acid or mushrooms. Like it kind of like that all came with the territory back then. And a lot of them kind of jumped into opiates and shit. And I have no personal experience with that. I've only just been close with a lot of people who did that. And maybe I'll speak on that another time, but for now I think it's important that I just stick to what I know best, which again is alcohol. When I was probably about 22, 23 years old, I had some repressed memories from when I was a kid kind of come back, and I didn't really know what they were or what it was based on. I didn't know what was happening. On top of already having a pretty significantly traumatic childhood outside of that, of things that I did and still do remember and live with. But then I had a family member kind of confirm to me what my suspicions were, and it's nothing I really like to say out loud, but I'm sure that, a lot of you have dealt with a similar thing, and I'm sure it wouldn't take too much thinking to know what I'm referring to. And it just kind of all came crashing down. Like, my world just kind of all came crashing down at once. And on top of those repressed memories coming back, it just like reawoke all of it. Look at Debo, he's coming here, he knows I'm getting sad. It just made all the things that were already bothering me that I was kind of running away from all my life. Didn't even realize I was running away from things. It wasn't like, oh, I'm sad, I'll go drink. I was just too busy drinking all the time. But it made a lot of things that I didn't deal with in my childhood kind of come back. And unfortunately, from ages probably 22 to 23, all the way until I was about 27 or 28, I genuinely don't remember most of my 20s. I know I played a lot of shows. I wrote music, there's albums to prove it. I know I worked jobs. I remember working jobs. It's not like it's literally a blackout, but I mean, as far as anything specific from those years, I really don't know. I was just pretty much dove into the bottom of a bottle. And I think the worst part about it was that I was being completely deflective if anytime anybody, one of my close friends or family members, came to me and told me they were worried about me. And I always just used the excuse, oh, I'm in my 20s. Like, what do you expect? I'm gonna drink. And it got to the point to where like I gained a lot of weight. I know I'm no physical specimen now, but I used to weigh around like 350 pounds at one point in my life. Literally day in and day out was spent. If I wasn't working, I was sitting on my ass, chain smoking cigarettes, and drinking beers to the point of blackout almost every single night. I remember there was a point in time where I had a job and I had to get up kind of early for it. So to not drink, if I wasn't drinking, I would get like a 6-pack and maybe a tall boy. So that's equivalent to like 8 beers. But that didn't count as drinking to me. Those are the nights I wasn't drinking. So you can kind of see how severe it got for me at one point. One day I had enough and I decided to quit cold turkey, which can be dangerous, but I wasn't doing like hard liquor. I wasn't drinking like 30 packs a day. But I was drinking enough to where I felt withdrawal symptoms. I didn't like get cold sweats or shakes, but I was really irritable and just had like the worst headaches ever. But after 2-3 days of not drinking, knowing that I was going through withdrawal symptoms really woke my ass up. And then I started, I don't recommend this for everybody, but I had my ways of kind of not quitting drinking. I still drink, but pulling back the reins and realizing like, hey, this is headed for disaster. If I don't do something soon, who knows where I'll end up. Worst case scenario, at my house in East Liverpool, still, however many years later it is now, which clearly I'm not. Another thing that was more of a wake-up call to me than anything was I was turning down shows. And I'm sure, like, if you're not really familiar with this band and you only know this series, like, you could tell that music is such a huge part of my life. It's literally the only thing I feel like I'm really good at. Like, I'm good at other stuff. Like, I'm okay at my job. I'm good with my family and friends. I love my family and friends. But it's like the one thing that I'm really proud of that I did and I do, and I was at a point in my life to where I was just turning down shows. One, from the shame of being so heavy. 2, from how out of shape I was. It was just so difficult to even get to practice. I was turning down practice all the time too. That I just couldn't imagine going up in front of people and just getting winded half a song in, 2 songs in. So between that and between me wanting to just take a break from alcohol, having these physical symptoms, it was a big wake-up call for me, and I've really reined it back over the years, and I've slowed down more and more over the years to the point to where now, it wouldn't be totally unrealistic if I completely stopped one day. Which kind of brings me into my next point on this is like I had to actively overcome this darkness that was consuming me, that was alcoholism. And I don't recommend this for everybody. Like, some people who are dealing with addictions, as a matter of fact, I believe most people who are dealing with addictions might need to just stop entirely. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, don't take what I say as gold, but I can tell you what worked for me. And it was setting, okay, for 7 days, I'm not gonna touch a drop of alcohol, which was huge. Actually, probably started out more like 3 or 4 days. Then for 7 days, then a month, no drinking. And it was like, until I got to this point of, now I just don't feel the urge nearly as much. One of the big things I do now, like, I don't drink alone. Going back to what I said earlier, like, I'm gonna have probably 2 beers tonight. Again, it's my night off work. but I'm not gonna get drunk tonight. And that's something I used to do. I used to always drink alone to the point of blacking out, whether I was at a party or in my living room by myself. I don't do that anymore. I might have a couple beers tonight, maybe 3. But I got work tomorrow and I gotta be on point. And on top of that, I just don't have the urge to wanna get drunk like that anymore. Hell, even a lot of parties, even the last Hell Pit, like I was not blackout drunk. Of course I had beers, I had fun, I cut loose, but I didn't get hammered. So the urge to kind of punish myself and poison myself with alcohol has left. I think part of that is due to focusing on control, self-control, focusing on what matters most to me. Above everything is my family and my friends, which are kind of the same thing. My friends are my family and I'm friends with all my family members pretty much. It's all the same thing. That's my most important. If I had to give up everything in the world, music, work, whatever, as long as I can still have my family and friends, I'd be okay. And I understand not everybody has that. And in the beginning, that was something that was not clear to me. I had to clear up my head to realize how important that was to me. But controlling my alcohol intake was so huge to me that I started to pay more attention to my fitness. Stopped eating like a giant baby with money all the time. Started moving around, lift some weights, get outside, go on a hike, do something. Get out of my fucking show. And the more I did those things, the more I realized not only am I feeling better about myself, gaining confidence, losing weight, but I'm physically feeling better. The world's more clear now. Like I'm more clear-headed. And then when we go to band practice, I'm not dying and dreading band practice. The thing I love most in the world, playing music, I'm not dreading to do it. Now I'm starting to look forward to it again. It like completely revitalized my love for life. And the one common denominator was cutting back the drinking, man. So if you're kind of in that position now where you feel like you got nothing else going for you but the alcohol, you have no idea what the fuck you're missing out on. Again, not for everybody, maybe you should quit entirely, but cutting back was enough for me. And I cut back significantly. You know, not everybody can do it the way I did. Some people might have to quit entirely, some people can do it on their own. And to say I did it alone is not entirely true. I had supportive friends around me. They weren't actively helping me quit, but they were just being there, and that's all I needed. And if you ever feel like you need people, there's no shame in it. Ask for help. Even if it's not directly help, you don't even need people to come hear your problems and wallow and stuff like that. Just get friends that you have that you know don't drink the way you do, and go do something. Go on, like I said, go on a hike, go fishing, go see a movie. Go play some Mortal Kombat on their couch. Do whatever you got to do that keeps you away from your vices. Because whether or not you see it, there are people out there who love you and are rooting for you. Whether you can see it right now or not, I guarantee there are people in your life or in your periphery that maybe aren't directly in your life anymore who want you back. And if you're not going to do it for them, that's fine. If you're bitter or angry, and maybe you have every reason to be, I don't know your life, but do it for yourself. The final decision I ever made was to do this for myself, and that's what made me able to stick to it and stay stuck to it all this time. Instead of trying to do it for other people, in the least selfish way possible, I started doing this for myself. Because I know what I'm capable of, and I know what my goals are, and I'm never gonna reach them if I'm getting hammered every day. And I deserve to have a good, happy life, and so do you. So I guess the conclusion of this video, man, I got a lot deeper on this one than I intended to. I'm probably going to be a little hesitant to release it, but fuck it, I always release them anyway. I always think they're not releasable, and then I edit them and release them anyway. They seem to be doing all right too, so won't shy away this time. You know, if you're in this world, this punk hardcore world specifically, you're probably drawn to it for one reason or another. You know, this community, this subculture, whatever you want to call it. Here, come on, he's whining. He's whining. See, this new couch is a lot smaller, so he's been bitching and whining the whole time, I think, trying to get up here. Anyway, if you're part of this, whatever you want to call it, this subculture, community, whatever, you know, it tends to draw broken people. I think that we're all, in one way or another, broken in some way, shape, or form. You know, life's hard. Everybody's got some fucked up shit they need to deal with. And this kind of music, I think, is a great escape for that. And with that comes things like addiction, like drinking too much or other drug use. And I think it's important that us as a community need to be there for each other. In a way, it's kind of our responsibility to be there for each other, I believe. But you're not going to be very good at being there for other people if you can't be there for yourself. So I hope whoever watches this, if you're struggling with addiction of any kind, I hope you found something in this video that might help you out, that might clear some things up for you. You know, I haven't done one of these videos in a week, and I got pretty good at just going on a roll and talking about whatever. I went into this one a little empty-handed, thinking that I could just go through it, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. I just hope that it helps somebody. And if you're one of the younger people watching this, I hope you know that you don't need to go either full straight edge warrior or like full alcoholic bum. Just be you. That's the best thing you can be. I'll end this with a story because I talked about how much better I've been doing lately, and I have been, especially compared to like my early mid-20s. Last 4th of July hell pit, I remember getting just way too drunk before absolutely anybody showed up. That was embarrassing in and of itself, but then I kind of began to notice how drunk I was. And there's a couple people there who I believe are like right around high school age or just after. And in that moment, I had another moment of clarity of realizing how drunk I was in front of some people who probably, in one way or another, look up to me, and how hurt I was by that. Now, I generally don't get that drunk at shows. Generally, I don't, because I want us to be as good as we possibly can, and I found out long ago we're not going to be as good as we possibly can if I'm blackout drunk. But certain shows like Hell Pit are more of a party than like a show opportunity, and I cut way too loose that time. Moral of that story being that you can always look to improve yourself, no matter what stage in recovery you're in or how far into your addiction you are. Just focus on one small step at a time. Don't look at the big picture. Don't go cold turkey. Maybe you can. One step at a time. Do better. You're worth it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. My name's AJ from the band Nervous Aggression. Hopefully talk to you guys soon. Got a lot of shows coming up. Maybe the next video won't be so heavy. Or maybe it will be. Comment below on what you like. The more heavy stuff or the more lighthearted shit. Because I can talk about whatever, whenever. Hope to see you around.